We are so delighted to have you here today. Very excited about this program that Venus has put together today. My name is Amy Hennessy, and I'm the Director of Economic Education here at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. I have my colleague Sherilyn Narker here as well. She works with me in our outreach. As part of our goals and values and our strategic plan, we are committed here in the 6th District to increasing the overall level of education and understanding of financial literacy for youth, predominantly K through 12, the young people, our future generation throughout the 6th District. We work directly with educators in our outreach, specifically doing professional development programs, both in-person workshops and conference presentations, as well as providing materials and resources online through our website, and also with our colleagues throughout the system who are doing efforts in this area as well. We feel very strongly that it's part of our service and part of our mission to promote a greater understanding of financial literacy. So when Venus reached out to me now about a year ago and said that she was going to work with our colleague Alejo Torres from the Chicago Fed in bringing the Money Smart Week program here to Georgia, I was very excited. And we were able this year in 2014 to host their kickoff luncheon. It is my intention and Sherilyn's intention to become even more involved, much more comprehensively involved in this program for this upcoming year in 2015. I'm very excited to have Ken McDonald with us here from the CFPB as he rolls out this initiative of the CFPB through our libraries throughout the state of Georgia. And I'm on the program later and we'll share just a few of our resources and give you kind of an understanding of how we feel we can work with all of you to provide support in the work that you all will be doing in this very important area of financial literacy. So I'm going to hand it off now to Venus.
Thank you, Amy. I really want to thank Amy for hosting this. We're here, but their support has been so critical, and I'm just turning flips in my head to have everyone here. And I especially want to thank Ken McDonald for coming in from Washington to do this presentation. I heard about this during our kickoff event for Money Smart Week earlier this year, and when I did the research on it, they rolled it out in a few other states, and I thought Georgia needed to be one of them, so I raised my hand to, kind of get it rolling here. And the other part of it, which I'll get into in a little bit, so thank you, Ken, for coming. And I thank Amy, the Fed, for supporting us, and we're going to have a good lunch today. And I thank you, Elaine, who's going to share some resources as well, and Amy is going to share resources for the libraries as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. I know you guys have taken time out of your busy schedules to be here, and I thank you. I'm so honored that you're going to be here to get this information. So my name is Venus Lockett, for those who don't know. I am the founder and chief empowerment officer of Urban Asset Builders. We work with low to moderate income individuals, families, and aspiring entrepreneurs to move them to financial capability and security. We use asset-based strategies to achieve that goal. And so we focus on financial education as the foundation to moving people to financial capability. And financial education and the resources that are out there are so important. We work to bring asset building products to the greater Atlanta and the Georgia area. Currently working on some products that we want to have here that are critical, and I think will be a great complement to the financial education that's going on, throughout greater Atlanta and in Georgia. We promote cross-sector collaboration, and we offer opportunities to do so. And so one of the cross-sector collaboratives is the Money Smart Week campaign. If you're familiar with Money Smart Week, can you just give me a show of hands? Awesome, awesome. We had our inaugural year. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a for-profit with a nonprofit heart and soul. I know a lot of people, when I'm working in this space, a lot of people have that concern, but I promise you, everything that I've done has been by volunteer efforts. I have no budget, so there is no profit. but I'm just that passionate about bringing people together around financial education because we all benefit from it. And so, when I see the different collaboratives and I introduce them, it's for everyone because it doesn't belong to me alone. It's for all of us to come together for the greater good. I am powered up by my nonprofit partner, who is the Community Foundation for Financial Literacy. Don't know if you're familiar with them, but their mission is to create economic stability and for typically underrepresented students and their families by increasing incomes, earnings, and wealth through a systematic approach that aims to influence behavior and actions of those who participate in its programs. We work closely together on a lot of programs, particularly Money Smart Week. We've worked with Fulton County on some of their programs for their Department of Family and Youth Services. There's a lot that we have on the table that we haven't presented yet, but we work very closely. They are a 501c3, and they are my fiscal sponsor because I am a for-profit. So, and Rod and Adrian are running a little bit late. So the cross-sector collaborative that brought us all together here today is Money Smart Week. As Amy mentioned a little bit, it's a program of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, but other Federal Reserve districts are partners to the campaign. And so Money Smart Week is a registered service mark of the Chicago Fed. It's run by the Chicago Fed, and they have a whole program for that campaign. I initiated the campaign earlier this year. We had our first inaugural year, even though there's been independent efforts throughout Greater Atlanta and Georgia in previous years. I thought it was important for us to come together and formalize our efforts so that the community can be connected and know what we're doing. So, what is Money Smart Week? It's a financial education campaign offering thousands of programs, classes, and activities to consumers of all ages, all income levels, all demographics. It's carried out by financial institutions, nonprofit groups, government agencies, schools, and libraries. The week showcases these organizations' educational resources, strengthens private-public partnership, engages the media, and connects people with those who can help them learn how to better manage their money. This is my most favorite project. Okay. The Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago coordinates the effort because individuals and communities benefit when consumers are making informed decisions about their personal finances. And the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta is a supporting partner to the campaign. Our national partners are the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the American Library Association, the Certified Financial Planners Board of Standards, the Financial Planners Association, and the USDA Cooperative Extension. So we have some very, very powerful stakeholders, and that's part of the reason why we're here today. As I said, 2014 was our inaugural year. I think we got off to a good start, but it could be so much bigger and powerful. These are just some highlights from the campaign and some of the partners that were involved. We had over 70 workshops this time throughout Georgia, I think it is. No, I'm sorry, through Greater Atlanta, and more partners for that. If you all want to see who the partners were, just go to the moneysmartweekpartners.org and click on the reports. You can see a long list of who's involved in Money Smart Week, not just in Georgia, but throughout the nation. And we are happy to say that it grew from 8 states, and we're up to 49 now. Okay, for Money Smart Week Greater Atlanta, we got a proclamation from the city of Atlanta, which helped, get the word out there. But our campaign covers 13 counties just for Greater Atlanta. There's other partners and planning teams throughout Georgia. We're trying to bring everybody together so that we can have one concerted effort. And, we want to know what they're doing and share, what we're doing as well. So this year you'll see a bigger outreach for the state of Georgia. Our partner kickoff event was hosted here at the Fed. That's where the Fed partners came together from Chicago and Atlanta. In the middle, in the first picture, you'll see Alejo Torres. Some of you have met him. He's been here for our kickoff and for a couple of meetings here to help us get started. Amy, and then that's Michael Christ. We had Councilman Alex Wan read the proclamation during our kickoff event. And then we had our dynamic speaker, who was Ms. Deidre Cox, who did the Anatomy of Sustainability, which was a powerful, powerful presentation. And so you see her in the middle of the room and had everybody mesmerized. And when she got through, she was asking everyone raised their hand. So I hope to have that same type of effect this year. We also had our Money Smart essay contest. And it was sponsored by Country Financial. They put up $5,000 for the award. They wanted it to go to a middle school winner, but I asked if it could be split up between a high school because there was some high school student out there who could use money towards books. Country has stepped up to sponsor the contest again for 2015, and we hope to get maybe a couple more sponsors so that we can broaden the reach. Country sponsors a Money Smart Kids Read. Usually it's the first Saturday of Money Smart Week, and they usually sponsor it in the library. So if people from the libraries, if you need an activity for Money Smart Week, you have a children's librarian, sign up for that because they usually send books, 15 to 20, to give to the students. You have the option to have an activity after that, and it's a way to pull your patrons in and give them activities to do. We did a couple of activities at Southwest Branch, Cobb, East Cobb, and some other libraries did some other things, but I sponsored a piggy paint. And we had so many kids in there. It was just wonderful to see them come around. We read Curious George Saves His Pennies, which led into that piggy paint. So I sponsored the piggy paint. They painted their own piggy banks, and then they know what it's for. Okay. So how did we get here today? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the American Library Association, and the Fed are national partners to the campaign, as mentioned before. We want to leverage those partnerships of the Money Smart Week campaign. We want to use the educational resources of those partners because they're trusted partners. And we want to engage our libraries in the educational efforts because you are hubs of trusted information. Why Greater Atlanta and Georgia? Does anybody know what the Assets and Opportunity Scorecard is? Ever heard of it? Okay, if you haven't, please look there. It gives you the rankings of different issue areas for the states. Georgia, 2 years ago, we were dead last in financial security, number 51. Last year, we were 50. This year, we're 49. Okay, so assets and poverty rate for Georgia is 32.3%. Liquid asset poverty rate is 55.8%. Unbanked, 11.5%. Underbanked is 26.8%. And as I mentioned, the overall outcome rank is 49. Do I need to say more? There's a lot of work to be done. It's going to take an all hands on deck approach, all boots on the ground approach to get it done. Georgia has a real big problem. It needs a real big solution. Let's come together and try and help in any way that we can. Thank you so much. Okay. Mr. Ken McDonald, Financial Education Outreach Analyst for the Office of Financial Education at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Kenneth McDonald joined the CFPB, as a Financial Education Outreach Analyst in the Office of Financial Education in August 2013. The Office of Financial Education is responsible for developing and implementing initiatives intended to educate and empower consumers to make informed financial decisions. Mr. McDonald is responsible for forming relationships and strategic partnerships with financial education nonprofits, kindergarten through 12 state educational programs, and organizations within the financial services industry. Prior to joining the CFPB, Mr. McDonald served as the Director of Research and Outreach at the Insured Retirement Institute. In this capacity, Mr. McDonald oversaw and directed the IRI, tongue twister, research, producing one original research report per month, and the IRI's consumer outreach efforts through the National Retirement Planning Coalition, a group of prominent education, consumer advocacy, and financial services organizations to raise public awareness of the need for comprehensive retirement planning. Prior to that, Mr. McDonald was the Employee Benefit Research Institute, was with the Employee Benefit Research Institute, where he led and oversaw EBRI's two financial capability programs, the American Savings Education Council and Choose to Save. Mr. McDonald has held leadership positions in the Alliance for Investor Education as Secretary and Treasurer of the Board, and in the Jumpstart Coalition for Personal Financial Literacy, most recently as Vice Chairman of the National Board. Mr. McDonald is a native of Chicago, Illinois, earned his Master of Arts and his Bachelor of Arts from Northern Illinois University. Welcome, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and it's nice to see I got another fellow Chicagoan in the room. And I heard a couple other folks talking about being from the Toddlin town. But thank you all today for having me here, Venus, for inviting me to come down here, and also for our partners, Amy and Elaine, FDIC and the Federal Reserve Board in Atlanta, two great partners to work with. So what I'd like to do here, need to start out first of all with a disclaimer. Everything I have to say is attributed to me and only me, and is not a reflection of the Bureau, Director Cordray, or Cassandra McConnell Tatum, my boss. Especially that last one. Bill knows. Okay, here is a little pic of me, my title, where I'm at, and please, you can reach me at any time at kenneth.mcdonnell, not like the food chain, but like the airplane manufacturer that no longer exists, at cfpb.gov. And we're here, as Venus told you in my bio, my role is to form relationships and partnerships with folks like you all to try to reach consumers, to try to empower consumers, to try to help consumers make the appropriate financial decisions and choices for them. So what we're going to start out with here, we'll go over the background of the CFPB, how we are, what we do, how we got started. I'm going to go over some financial education tools and resources of the Bureau. I'm going to talk about the Bureau hearing from consumers. This is a very big component of the Bureau. We do have a division of over 100 employees called Consumer Response, and their job is to take complaints from anybody and everybody who has a problem with financial institutions, which tends to be a lot. And then go into our main reason for being here, the community education programs, or as we call it in the Bureau, the libraries program. So what is our vision? Our vision is where consumers can see prices and risks up front, and where they can easily make product comparisons. We want in which no one can build a business model around unfair, deceptive, or abusive practices. And in talking to many of you folks, and this is, by the way, the second trip for me down here to Atlanta. I was down in February for the Fleck Field hearing, and I did hear from a lot of folks. Bill had arranged a meeting with Director Cordray and the Concerned Black Clergy of Greater Atlanta, and we heard a lot about deceptive and abusive practices, and we're here to try to help and try to stop that as best we can. And we want that works for American consumers, responsible providers, and the economy as a whole. The mission is to make markets for consumer financial products and services work for all Americans, whether they are applying for a mortgage, choosing among credit cards, or any number of any other personal financial product. We are the cop on the beat. We are here to help, and we're here to do the best that we can to make sure you all get the satisfaction you need. So what do? We educate, and that's the role that I am here for, and that's the role that you all are here for. We want to inform consumers. We believe that an educated consumer is the first line of defense. We also enforce. We are a regulatory agency. We supervise banks and credit unions. Banks and credit unions with over $10 billion in assets. FDIC and the Federal Reserve Board, as well as the OCC, also has supervisory capacity over banks. We have it as the consumer side, and they're more on the regulatory side and making sure the bank is functioning properly. We also are the regulator for other financial companies, such as mortgages. We are there for everything in mortgages, even down to the credit rating agencies. We are their regulators. And we enforce all federal consumer finance laws. We also study. We have another whole division on research, marketing, and innovations. And also within my office, the Office of Financial Education, we are also doing some research. We're doing some very good groundbreaking research on defining financial well-being. And then one of the programs I'm going to be getting to, we have an outreach initiative to parents in which we took some of the findings from this financial well-being research and are using it to inform our messaging that we're using out to parents. So our statutory objectives ensure consumers have timely and understandable information to make responsible decisions about financial transactions. And I'd like to add here also to make their financial decisions which fit their needs and products that suit them. We want to make sure this is very individualized. You all know this. Very individualized. We want to make sure that these people feel very empowered, and it's very important from our perspective. We want to protect consumers from unfair, deceptive, or abusive acts, practices, and from discrimination. I know it's probably the third time I said it, and it should be said over and over again. As you all are familiar, you probably have many folks that have been victims of deceptive practices and scams, and we want to put a stop to all that. We wish to reduce outdated, unnecessary, or unduly burdensome regulations. We wish to promote fair competition by enforcing the federal consumer financial laws consistently. And we wish to advance markets for consumer financial products and services that operate transparently and efficiently to facilitate access and innovation. So what we've been doing so far. January, we issued the new mortgage rules. In addition to that, we do have some consumer-facing products and information to help explain the new mortgage rules. Coming soon, we'll be coming out with some prepaid card regulations, and we're in development debt collection notice and proposal rulemaking, so be on the lookout for that. In the supervision side, we implemented the first federal non-bank supervision program. We are now regulating payday lenders, and we're moving toward a culture of compliance in financial institutions. So, as I said, we have our consumer response. Our job is to make sure that people are getting some satisfaction, and you've been a victim of fraud or abuse or deceptive practice, you can come to us. In the 3 years that we've been in existence, we have returned money to over 15 million customers, and that has totaled $4.6 billion returned to consumers. And this has only been in 3 years of existence. So this is the one thing I'd say we're most proud of, because this is our reason for existence. So I'm going to introduce you to the division that I work in. This is called the Consumer Education and Engagement, and it is headed up by Gail Hillebrand. There are 6 offices within the Division of Consumer Education and Engagement. There are 2 overarching: consumer engagement. These folks are the ones that create our webpage. They do the facing of the webpage, the blog post. They do our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that other stuff. They're responsible for all of that. Office of Financial Education, which is where I'm located at, and it is headed up. Our new assistant director is Yannicka Ratcliffe. We provide targeted information and content, and we also identify and promote effective financial education practices. We're also to be the mouthpiece for the Bureau when it comes to financial education, such as my role to come out and talk to you all and find out what your needs are and try to match up what the Bureau has to fit your needs. And if we don't have it, we'll look for it and see if we can innovate it. Then we have 4 offices. Now these 4 offices are to targeted populations. The first one, service members, headed up by Holly Petraeus. And they work with all of the service members and their families. So they coordinate with the Department of Defense and other military service organizations. They have an audience of approximately 2.2 million military personnel and 22.6 million veterans. If any of you have ever met Holly, she is an awesome presenter and a tireless advocate for service members. She is a wonderful person to work with. We have our Office for Older Americans. This is headed up by Nora Dodd Eisenhower. And this is for senior citizens, individuals age 62 and older. Now, I've had some folks ask me, why 62? It's the first age of eligibility for Social Security. So that was the cutoff and the reason for doing that. And their main goal here is to protect against fraud and abuse. They want to improve financial literacy among seniors. And they want to help seniors plan life events. And there are approximately 50 million individuals that are age 62 plus, and as you all know, that population is growing and growing rapidly. Our third office that's for our targeted population is the Office of Students. This is headed up by Rohit Chopra. Rohit is actually a hire from Elizabeth Warren, so he was one of the first people hired on at the Bureau. And the target audience here is individuals ages 16 to 26, approximately 22 to 28 million people. This is the college age people. And as we learned through a bill with the CBC back in February, one of the number one problems we hear is huge amounts of student loan debt, private for-profit colleges getting these students stuck in these bad situations. So we are taking effective measures. We've shut down one of these for-profit colleges at 100 locations across the country. They had some incredibly, I was just stunned when I saw some of the things that these people were doing. I couldn't believe, how did these people sleep at night? So it was done in conjunction with local law enforcement, local regulatory enforcement, and other regulatory agencies, such as the Department of Education, concerning us as students. So we're very actively engaged in this, and we want to make sure that young people don't start out life with a couple $100,000 in debt. And our final special population office is the Office of Financial Empowerment. This is headed up by Daniel Dodd Ramirez. And this is to improve the financial stability of low-income and other vulnerable communities. They have an audience of approximately 33% of Americans earn less than twice the poverty line. And as you all know, this is a very vulnerable population. I know the Federal Reserve and FDIC have been very active in this group for many years, and we really need to do a lot of outreach. I've spoken with a couple of the folks back there in the audience, and we're definitely willing to hear more about you, more about what you're hearing from, and we'd love to be able to find ways that we can help and form partnerships to help reach these vulnerable populations. So our financial literacy strategy is through the Office of Financial Education. We have education initiatives to reach consumers at opportune moments, and I'll be giving you more in a little bit on some of the programs that we have going. Evidence-based research and innovation to identify what works. We do outreach, like me, to share information and develop approaches and collaborations with consumers. And we want to have measurable performance goals. And this is a tough one. As all of you know, how do you measure success? So I'm all ears on this one. You all are in the field, and I would love to hear some ideas of how you measure success and maybe ways that we can replicate some of those success metrics. And we do all of this in consultation with the Financial Literacy Education Commission. It's an organization of 22 federal agencies, and it's lovingly called FLAC. Government's not known for coming up with innovative names for things. One of the big initiatives, and Director Cordray is really big on this. A little background on Director Cordray. He was the treasurer of the state of Ohio, and he was very big on youth financial education in the state of Ohio. He did a lot in teacher training and a lot of outreach into the schools to get financial education in the schools. So this is a near and dear passion to Director Cordray, and as you all know, it's the foundation for all building and all financial knowledge as you go through the life spectrum. So what do we wish to do? We would love to have introduce key financial education concepts early and continue to build on that foundation consistently throughout the K through 12 years. And as you learn, Elaine here at FDIC, we are collaborating with FDIC on the Money Smart program for youth, and I'll tell you a little more about that when we get to that portion. We wish to include personal financial management questions into standardized tests. And here what we're doing is we're working with the College Board and the ACT. We have an opportunity here because College Board is currently updating and revising the questionnaire for the SAT test. What we would like for them to do is introduce financial concepts into the questions. We don't want them to make new questions, but take some of them, particularly the math ones would be easy. Also the social studies questions would be easy to do this, and put some personal finance questions in there. And the idea is teachers where kids are going to be taking the SAT, they take prep courses. And they're going to be taking prep courses, they're going to be having the financial concepts put in there if that's what the questions are asking. In addition to that, as teachers, particularly junior and senior in high school, if they're going to be teaching to the kids so to prepare them for the SAT and the ACT, If some of the questions are phrased with financial concepts, the teachers will then be able to teach it. So you see this beautiful cycle that goes through with this. So it's a very key element here, and we thought this was a great low-hanging fruit. We should provide opportunities throughout the K through 12 years to practice money management through innovative, hands-on learning opportunities. And another thing with our friends at FDIC again, we're working on a partnership with them on their youth savings pilot project, in which what they're doing is they're matching up a school, a bank, and a nonprofit to introduce banking in the schools to get the kids used to this. We'd like to create consistent opportunities and incentives for teachers to take financial education training with the expressed intention of teaching financial management to their students. And in this way, we're partnering with the Jumpstart Coalition, which, by the way, is an awesome partner to work with. So if you don't know him, talk to Bill. I'd be stunned if any of you didn't know Bill. But we found, and as the Jumpstart philosophy, which I personally think is awesome, teach the teacher how to manage their own personal finance. That way the teacher feels more confident in teaching it to the students. What an awesome philosophy, and I really like that, and we'd love to be able to help and support that. And finally, we wish to encourage parents and guardians. We're looking at parents and caregivers. As many of you know, grandparents are now taking on a lot of that responsibility. We're looking at the foster care system. We want to look at all sorts of ways in which children are interacting with adults. We want to get them to discuss money management topics at home and provide them with the necessary tools to have these money conversations with their children. And later on in my presentation, I'll show you of a project that we're working on, yet once again, with our friends at FDIC, who says government agencies don't cooperate. So, education, tools, and resources. Ask CFPB. This is one of our signature tools. It is a question and answer format. There are over 1,000 questions on a broad range of financial topics. This is a great tool if you just want to get started on a financial topic. You type in your question and we'll pop up with a simple, easy to understand answer. This is another big important thing for the Bureau. We want to make sure that everything we write and say is easy to understand. So the other thing is that with these questions, there will be a bunch of tags afterwards with related topics and suggestions. So you could spend hours on this thing. One thing about this tool, and as an ask I have to all of you, if you're using this tool, if you get an answer and you're going, what? Tell us about that. We would need to know. If it doesn't make sense to you, let us know, and we will fix it. If it's spot on, we'd really like to know that. It's always good to know that we got something right as well. But so we ask you to rate it. Also, if you ask a question and it's not in here, let us know. You can send that in to me. They sit right behind me, and I can go talk to Todd, who manages this project, this tool, and we'll see about getting that question put in there. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So we want to make sure that something that you all will use and that all the people that you interact with and help out will find this a useful tool. So we're definitely wanting some feedback. Paying for college. So this is one of our signature programs. This was one of the first interactive tools that we created. It walks you through the process of what to save, what to learn about going to college, how to finance it, what are your loan options, what are your aid options, what are your grant options. We always encourage you to use a private sector student loan as a last resort. Always exhaust all other possibilities first. The other thing that's on here is a really cool interactive tool I wish we had 30 years ago when I went to college. It's looking at the tool. You look at a university and go, thank you, Bill. There's always someone older. You look at the university and it will tell you, what's the student loan debt ratio here? That would be a red flag. If it's too high, don't go there. What is the job placement like? What are the other options with regard to financing? These are really critical components when you're deciding on what school. The college education is supposed to advance your career and help you move on up the social ladder. So you really want to make sure you make this decision and make the right one. So it's a great interactive tool. It also walks you through processes when the student is actually in college. What are your banking options? Stay away from all those people that want to give you a credit card. And I can tell you it's easy. In college, I had 8 credit cards. 3 were from oil companies, and I didn't even own a car. So it's easy to get sucked into that trap. It really is. Men like to brag. So, and then also we have the after you graduate process, how to pay off your student loans. What are your rights? What are your options? So we want to make this thing as dynamic and interactive, and this tool has just been updated just a couple of months ago. So we highly recommend you all to use this one, and you're working with clients are thinking about going on to college. We also have a lot of resources in Spanish. So you can go to consumerfinance.gov/es, and just about everything we have is in Spanish. In addition to that, you'll see in other programs we have, we do a lot of other languages as well. And our consumer response division, they're the ones that take in the complaints. They have the capacity for 180 different languages. So they're really well versed, and they're really here to help you. Here are remittance transfers. So we had these new rules we came out about remittances. As you all know, in Atlanta is an area with a very large and growing Hispanic population. And so this is another vulnerable population. A lot of them are sending money back home. And the folks back home really depend on this money. And many of these folks are vulnerable, and they're being taken advantage of. This campaign is designed to help them be aware of the rules that they are operate under, to know what their rights are, and to know what would be a fair price to be charged. So we have these great resources, again, all free from our website, and as you see, they're available in Spanish, Chinese, French Creole, and Tagalog. Tagalog is from the Philippines. And we did a lot of research and found out these were the languages, and it's also available in English, were the languages that are sending out the largest amount of remittances from the United States. So we have posters, flyers, fact sheets, and brochures. And we encourage you all to download these things. If you know of any place where a lot of immigrants will be, any community centers for them, we'd love to have these things put there so they're aware of their rights and they're not going to be taken advantage of. We have our mortgage rules. So when we came out with our new mortgage rules in January, we created this to help you understand the new mortgage rules. Again, these are all written in plain, easy to understand Spanish, Chinese, French, Haitian Creole, Korean, and Tagalog. All written so that an average person can understand these rules. Again, these are all available off our website, and they're all available also from the GPO. Issues facing older Americans. Our Office for Older Americans has been incredibly active. So one of the best documents they have, managing someone else's money. This is something that all of you who are probably like me, getting into the generation where your parents are getting old, and you're going to have to step in and do a lot more for them. So what do you need to be aware of as you're managing aging parents' money for them? And there's, I've learned about 7 different federal agencies that have some jurisdiction in this. This document brings it all into easy to understand English. These documents are only about 12 pages long, very easy to read through. We also have a guide on reverse mortgages. I know you've all seen Henry Winkler and other folks on TV praising the virtues of these things. Now, while they're good for some people, they may not be good for others. So we've created a guide to help you understand, is the reverse mortgage good for my parents? And this guide will hopefully answer some of those questions for you. We also have a guide on senior designations. Now, CFP board is an awesome place. AICPA, another great designation. Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA Institute, very good and solid. But there is a whole alphabet soup. The FINRA Investor Education Foundation has found that there's about 500 different designations. And many of them out there, to be honest, are some organizations that are just looking to raise money and they create this designation, and there you go. So this senior designation guide is there to help explain to you what to look out for, what would be reputable and what wouldn't be. And we're currently in the process of updating this document, so stay tuned on that one. We've come out with some documents for protecting residents from financial exploitation. And yet once again, FDIC, we have worked with FDIC to come out with a Money Smart tool for older Americans. A lot of this is on fraud prevention, planning for your retirement, how to manage your assets in retirement. It's a great interactive tool. And our outreach with parents, which we work with again with FDIC. So this was part of a three-part, actually it's a four-part initiative that we're working with FDIC. One is this outreach to parents. In this campaign, going back to what I said earlier about our building on our research, where our research has found that parents, you are the number one influencer. Even if you have a 15-year-old and every time you talk to the 15-year-old, they roll their eyes at you, they're still paying attention. Oh, they will. By the time they turn 18, they'll really pay attention to you. Secondly, they're not just a direct interaction when you sit down and say, here's how to write a check, and this is what your paycheck means. But they're watching you interact at the grocery store. They're watching you at the bank. They're watching you and your spouse interact. They're watching you with your friends. So they're observing all this interaction. So they're taking in how you're managing money. And even while you're sitting there at the computer, what you're doing with your managing your finances, they're watching that. How often do you do that? You're modeling behavior for them. So we want parents to be aware of that. And the third big point we got in here, you don't have to be Susie Orman to do this. You don't even have to be Bill Cheeks to do this. Anybody can do this. And the FDIC and CFPB is here with the resources to help you. Second part of this partnership, since we're here, we've created a Teacher Online Resource Center, which we call TORC. And the Online Resource Centers, we have two target audiences here of teachers. One, teachers who have gone through, say, a Jumpstart training in February. Now it's September, and I'm going to implement some of that training. I may need a little refresher or need some tips on how I want to implement that training. So we're going to have some tips and online resources that the teacher can use. Secondly, there's another problem that teachers have. Let's say I'm a French teacher, and a principal comes up to me and says, Ken, guess what you're teaching this year? I said, French literature? Wrong. Personal finance. Go to it. And this is, by the way, very common, if I would understand, in schools. So the Teacher Online Resource Center will be a resource there that the teacher can go, God, what do I do here? So I can start pulling some stuff off and using these in the classroom. The third thing we're working with FDIC is on the Money Smart. Money Smart for Youth. There are currently 2 programs for ages 5 through 8 and 12 through 20. Things are going to be merged. The gap of 9, 10, 11-year-olds will be addressed, and add in the pre-K component. And it will be aligned to the Common Core, and it will be aligned to the state standards, because you know some states, notably Texas, has decided, figures Texas, outside of the Common Core, we're not going to do it, we're going to be Texas. So we're aligning it to all the state standards as well. So it's going to be a very dynamic, interactive tool. But wait, there's more, because we're talking about the parent campaign, creating a parent guide that will be an accompaniment. Now, the parent guide can be used, teacher teaching Money Smart in the classroom, and then can assign homework through the parent guide. Or, if it's not being taught in the classroom, the parent guide can still be used as an independent, standalone tool. So if parents are really looking for something, they want to have to teach their kids, and the beauty of this thing is it's age appropriate. Because you're going to hear a lot from a parent would say, well, my kid's 3 years old. What's he going to understand? Elaine here can tell you. So here's some pretty little share graphics that we've created, and I really wish I would have thought of this. I was in Los Angeles this weekend. We had these bookmarks, and I really wish I would have thought to bring those things. But these are some share graphics we have. We created bookmarks on these, and I can send some back on down when I get back up to DC. We got some very cute graphics on this. These can also be used for social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Kids.gov, what they did. We've also created some share articles, tips, practical tips for parents to use. And Kids.gov, in their blog posts, put one of the share articles and one of the share graphics there. Had the website right there, and then the article on down with tips. Very well done. We got some good traffic because of that through them. These can also be used in any way you see fit. They're GIF. They can't really be modified. We just got approval from FDIC to get their logo put on, so the next tranche you're going to see FDIC's logo on here. The other thing with these that we're really interested in is feedback from people. What do you think of these? Now, one of the things we're talking about, like this one, that's great if I'm the parent of a toddler, but I got a 15-year-old that's already rolling their eyes at me. If I pull that out at them, so we need to come up with some other kind of graphics. Now, as you see, one thing missing here, no people. At the Bureau, we have a policy, no people are allowed in our graphics. There's just way too much politics on that one. So we can't show shiny, happy people being shiny, happy people with their children. But we can show little things like this, some kind of graphic and image. So if you guys have any ideas of what would relate to a 15-year-old, I haven't been one in years, so very much so interested in that. So how you can help us with our parent outreach program, we would love for you to share our messages and graphics in the social media, share the articles of your populations, and again, we're listening. So I will be sending on down to Venus, as you can distribute out to all of you, the share articles we had. The other thing coming up with this program, as you all know, right now we are in a great big financial teachable moment. This is open enrollment season in employee benefits. This is a time when people are thinking about their finances. This is a great teachable moment. And my colleague Laura Schlockmeyer, back at the CFPB, has written 3 great articles, and it gives tips to parents as you're going through the open enrollment season, how you can include your kids. And the articles are age specific, so what you do with young children, middle school children, and high schoolers. And it's a great articles, again, taking you back to the website. So I will be, hopefully, have those ready by, God willing, tomorrow or Friday, that I'll be sending on down to Venus, and as you can distribute out to all of you. They're really great articles. The one thing with these articles, they are in your domain. If you are looking at these things and you go, you know what, we've got a really great tool for this. Would it be okay if I put a link to my tool in that would work really well? Yes, by all means, yes. Can you put your logo on these articles? Yes, by all means, yes. We want you to be able to use these articles to help promote tools and resources that you all have. If you just like the tips and however you communicate out, email, blog posts, electronic newsletters, interpretive dance, whatever you do to communicate to the folks, we'll get a share article for it. You can do the interpretive dance to it. One thing I wanted to do back to the parent page, very important here, age-appropriate resources. And all of these resources that are on here are non-advertising. So you will not be taken to purchase a product. And they are age appropriate. They're all federal government resources, and there are also some nonprofit resources. In addition to that, when you look at these resources, you go onto the site and check these resources out, which I encourage all of you to do. If you know of something, like particularly Amy and Elaine and any of the others, particularly nonprofit folks, you're like, there's this thing that I use all the time, it's strictly educational, and it's awesome for 5-year-olds, send it to us. We'd like to go through our vetting process, and we'll see if we can add it onto here. But we're very interested in learning more about this. We want this to be interactive. We want to know what you all think about these things. Now, listening to consumers, although I talk too much. We are the people you come to complain to. And as you all know, who doesn't love sitting down and listening to someone complain? So, but this is an extremely important function for the Bureau. And we believe also it is an extremely important function for the American economy and for the consumers at large. So let me go into, let's see what we have here. So you have consumerfinance.gov, submit a complaint. Also, if you just go on to consumerfinance.gov, prominently done, submit a complaint. You just click there. We also take phone calls. We also take emails. You can do it through the website. You can send us a letter. The only thing we can't do is interpretive dance. We're working on smoke signals. So here's the complaints that we do accept: credit cards, mortgages, bank accounts, service private loans and student loans, credit reporting, money transfers, debt collection, payday loans, prepaid cards, credit repair, debt settlement, pawn and title loans, and virtual currencies. That's the Bitcoin. And we're also, the payday loans, they're on there. The other thing is, if you're talking to a client and they're getting this problem, and you're like, I'm not sure if it fits in here, send them to us anyway. We don't turn people away. We hear what their complaint is, and we see how we can help. Sometimes we may have to send them an FDIC. Sometimes, a lot of times, we may have to send them an FTC because we'll get things about identity theft, and that's really the Federal Trade Commission. But we'll help you out and show you where to go. We're not just going to say, sorry, not us, go elsewhere. We really want to help consumers. So as you see here, our complaint process over time and how many complaints we have received. And you see that line trending up, which is a good thing. This is the result of two things. One, as you see back here, there's years, dates down at the bottom. We added on different financial products as time goes on. It increases the amount of complaints we can take. Secondly, you have people like me coming out and talking to all you good folks and telling you that this is here. It's here for your use. It's here for your clients to use. It's here for your families. It's here for your friends. It's here for anyone you think is an American consumer who is getting the runaround from a financial institution. We're here to help. This is the main way that we are here to help. So what happens if someone submits a complaint? Well, first they complain. Then we review it, and we route the complaint on. That we have subject matter experts throughout the Bureau in our enforcement and supervision, and we also have a staff of lawyers in our consumer response. They'll review it, and they will send it on out to the company that the complaint was registered about. The company will review it. The company will give us a response back. We will then reach back out to the consumer, and we'll go over the response with the consumer to see if you got some satisfaction. And we'll work with you. If we need to review and investigate, but the consumer says, no, this is not working for me, we'll go over it for more, we'll review and investigate. And we'll keep working on this until we get it right, until we have a satisfied consumer. So we're here with you for the long haul. Most complaints can really be addressed fairly easily. Some of them are much more complicated, and they will take more time, and we will take more time to do it. And again, I stress, 180 different languages. So if you got someone who doesn't speak English, and they don't speak Spanish, and they don't speak Creole or Chinese Mandarin, we can still probably talk to them. Then we will analyze and report, and that leads me into this. We have a database of these things. It is free, and it is open to the public. So if you are working with clients, and you're working maybe with some financial service providers, and you're hearing from your clients about a large number of complaints, you're like, is anyone else going through this in my community? You go to the consumer complaint database and you can check. You can go and research, you can go and pull out, is your community seeing a large number? And if you're finding that, tell us. One of the things that we really need out of this, and we monitor this database too, it's like our canary in the coal mine. But if you're seeing more of these things in your community, let us know. We really need to know. We need this feedback. We want to make sure this works for everybody, and we need this positive feedback. We also have this Tell Your Story. This is a really wonderful thing, and if you've seen recently, the financial services industry doesn't like this, by the way. We put this out here. We want to hear from consumers, and consumers will tell us their stories. People really love to tell their story. And so what we do is we listen into what they've said. A lot of times they'll sit and talk about a financial problem they had, and then either the Bureau has stepped in to help them, or maybe the FDIC or the Federal Reserve Board has stepped in to help them, or some local community group stepped in to help them and told them about how the problem was resolved. They like to tell their story because their viewpoint is, if this happened to me, it's probably happening to someone else. And if I tell my story, then someone else will see it. And someone else who's going through that will see what I went through, and where I went to get help. So this is a very critical component of our outreach methods. So we always ask you, feel free, go and browse through this. If you're working with some clients and you see a story in here that's very similar to your client, and your client may feel overwhelmed, here's a success story that could kind of calm them down, make them feel like, okay, I can do this. If this person with the glasses could do it, I can do it too. We're also in social media. This is our consumer engagement folks. So we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Twitter. So if you want to follow us, like us, link with us, whatever you do with us, here we are. So please come and join us. So I'd like to take a pause here. Are there any questions that y'all may have about the Bureau, our functions, our resources, our tools? And Bill, you have a question?
No, I have a comment.
Okay.
Real concern about the election last Tuesday and this agency. This is such a critical agency, and a lot of folks object to this agency because I travel all around the country and everything. They may need you as consumers and advocates for consumers in the future to really talk to many of your congressmen and senators at both state and federal level about the importance of this agency. I work closely with them, and they just are doing phenomenal work. That's my comment.
Thank you, Bill. Love applause. Thank you. Yeah, yes.
Hi, my name is Elise Glassingame, and I work for Georgia Watch, which is a consumer advocacy organization here. And we're also really big fans of the CFPB. Just a couple of things. One, yesterday, because it was Veterans Day, we shared on our social media a really big success story from the CFPB on the service member side.
Okay.
And that was the recouping of over $6.5 million in these faulty auto loans to over 50,000 service members. So I can't stress enough, and thank you for being here and saying it, complaints work, because then they can actually do something about it. You can't legislate it unless you know about it.
Yes.
So thank you again. And to Bill's point, I just want to say, the CFPB is also going to be coming up with some payday rulings, some stronger nationwide, rulings on what to do about payday lending. And we have a role here in Georgia to talk to our representatives about how they can support, Director Cordray and the CFPB in making that happen. So if anybody's interested in learning more about how to write those letters or example letters, we have them. So just come talk to me after.
Thank you. Yes?
Yes, I'm Sharima Young with AARP, and we actually have a program on fraud as well as financial security. So I'm interested in how we collaborate together here on the ground in Georgia. It's my focus here as a state. So is there anyone here locally that we can communicate with?
I don't have anyone locally here. It's one of the things we're a bit strapped is we're still growing as an agency, but let's talk afterward.
Okay.
I know I've talked with the folks at Older Americans, and they're looking for ways to expand their outreach. And a great way is partnering with AARP, because, yes, I am a member too. So it's the beauty of turning 50. But yes, let's talk offline afterwards, and I'll connect you with Tammy Lucero. Tammy is the outreach coordinator she's the equivalent of me over in the Office for Older Americans, and she would definitely love to talk to you. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm at the Foundation for Financial Planning, and Havni is sitting next to me. She's with the FPA of Georgia, and working with Money Smart Week and libraries and partnering with presenters. Would we be able to take this sheet to the libraries? Because the feedback that I have gotten, because we help push it out to 95 chapters for the Financial Planning Association across the United States, is that my library didn't know anything about it. So I just, definitely want to be able to take this and say, we've got the financial, planning professionals, and we have neutral topics, and we want to partner with the library.
Yeah, we have a plan. We have a plan. I'll let you know. Okay.
Definitely. And by the way, let me do a plug for the Financial Planning Association over here. October is Financial Planning Days, and I know they had one here in Atlanta. This is, you're looking for a way that individuals can talk to a planner and get some advice on any financial topic. Financial Planning Days is a excellent way to do it. I believe, 27, 28 cities across the country now? You can go in with any question. There's a whole array of planners there. Very, very important. No selling. They're not allowed to ask you for your any information to contact you. They're not allowed to promote themselves or market themselves. They're just there to answer your questions, and it is a great resource. And a lot of the agencies that are federal agencies, I know state and local government agencies and nonprofits, put all of their stuff over into that thing, and they really take it in. So if you are here with a nonprofit organization, ARP, talk to her. That Financial Planning Days is really a tremendous tool.
And may I also just say, we have resources here, and they're phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And it is really hard for individuals to really see those resources and look them up, especially, older Americans. They have, they need help with looking online, and these resources are not in their backyard. They are online. They are available all over the place. Mm-hmm. But what we can provide is people. Talk to a person one-on-one. Ask them the questions. We'll give you the resources, because sometimes it's just asking.
Great. For two women back there, talk to her. If you want to find out how you can get some, that would be a great connection. Yes, sir.
I heard that no one here was local. Has there been any thought to, I know Georgia has an online learning portal in Galileo that offers several databases. It seems like that would be a perfect place to host that business. I understand each institution can, like the library, for example, link there, but that would be a great place to.
I don't know if that data, because of the nature of that database, I don't think it can be hosted anywhere but with us. Now you can link to it, yeah, but it can only be hosted by us. So it is what it draws upon is sensitive information, and one of the things the Bureau is really big on, controlling the release of what we call PII, personally identifiable information. And we're very, very big on that. So that's why we can link to it, fine. We're more than willing to have that, but the database must stay with us. Yeah. Anyone else? Questions or comments? Okay. Now, making libraries the go-to resource. So why is financial education important? I think Venus gave you a great litany of reasons why it's important in Georgia. And this, from the FINRA Investor Education Foundation National Financial Capability Survey, will show you that it is important nationwide. What this is telling you here, 61% of consumers who took this survey, and they surveyed 25,000 people across the country, 61% could not answer 3 or more of the financial literacy questions correctly. And as you see, this chart is telling you, in 2009, 58% of 25,000 people could not answer 3 or more of the questions correctly. And so we're going in the wrong direction. By 2012, that went up to 61%. So this is telling us what we all here in this room do is very much so needed. And then to build on Venus's Georgia-specific data, we have some important, this is other data from the financial capability. 59% have not planned for retirement. 56% have no money set aside for emergencies. And on that point for a moment, one of the organizations I used to work for, the Employee Benefit Research Institute, since 1990 has been doing this survey called the Retirement Confidence Survey. And in that survey, they asked the question amongst individuals who are currently working, how much do you have set aside in savings? Not emergency, not retirement, just any savings, excluding 2 things, the value of a defined benefit pension plan and the value of your home. What we have found is 1/3, and this has been consistent since 1990, 1/3 of individuals who are working or under the age of 65 have no savings, or like $2,500 or less. And what was amazing is 25% of individuals who are age 55 and older have less than $5,000 in total savings, and they're 55 and older. So this really is calling out for our attention. 49% carry balances on their credit cards. And thank God I didn't do that in the 8 of them I had. 63% have not saved for college education. Now, this was asked amongst those who have children. So it was asked about someone like me. And 22% have overdrawn on a checking account. So back in 2011 and 2012, the Office of Financial Education went out across the country and we conducted a series of listening sessions. We spoke with financial educators, service providers, representatives of local government, and nonprofit organizations. So basically, you all. And what we found, that consumers may not know where to turn for unbiased help when they're facing a financial decision or a problem. And we found when this happens, small problems can grow into really big ones. So we found that there was a challenge. We're looking for a high-impact, community-focused financial education effort that meets the following criteria. What is the resource in every community that can offer consumers free access, unbiased information, helpful and knowledgeable staff, and a high degree of trust? Where would you go for such a place? Yes, the obvious answer is your library. Now, this first point here, public libraries serve 297.6 million people throughout the United States. There are 310 million people in the United States. So this figure is telling you it's 297 have access to it. That is an enormous reach. If we got 310 million people in the country and we're looking at almost 300 million, that is enormous. You've got almost everybody covered has access to a library. On average, Americans visit our library 5.3 times a year. I wanted to know about the 0.3. Isn't that always funny? Program attendance is increasing. We found that people are coming to their libraries despite declining budgets, operating revenues, service hours, and staffing. Libraries, as you all know, like anybody here who's working in state and local government, cuts, and more cuts, and lots of cutbacks. And so one of the things that libraries do really need is to justify their existence. And this is a great way to go about doing it with this huge reach. Found that libraries are also extremely important for parents and for folks who are low and moderate income households. And this is a figure that's really interesting. In 1 year, I don't know what year it was, 19 million or 25% of all public access users logged on at their public library for commercial needs or to manage their personal finances. Now, if they're managing their personal finances on a computer in a library, they must really trust that place. So we think there's your trust element, very important. And if they're doing this, this really does scream out, give them some help because they're there looking for this. So we launched this project in summer 2013. Our project goals were to build a community of financial education infrastructure in collaboration with libraries and national partners to reach consumers in their neighborhoods. This is the other important thing. As many of you know, in a lot of disadvantaged communities, they may not trust someone who comes in and looks like me. They want someone who they know and they can relate to. And their library is someone that could do this. This is also really critical in immigrant communities. As I don't speak Tagalog. And so you really need to have someone who is there that understands the community and their needs. And I stress to you also, this is a really important point of why we are in this project. Librarians know their community. They know the needs, and a lot of times the librarians know the people in their communities. So that's really critical. And we build a lot of flexibility. What works for you? We want to find out what works for you and your community. So we wish to take advantage of existing programs and resources already in the field. If any of you are familiar with the FINRA Investor Education Foundation, a great funder of financial education, they started this project. Actually, the person in our office who's really, this is his brainchild, is Dan Rutherford. And Dan used to work at the FINRA Investor Education Foundation. FINRA has a really great project reaching out to libraries, and they give them money to build programs. One caveat, you can't create any resources, just use the resources already in existence. And so Dan wanted to build on this, have something ongoing, and that's what we're doing here. So we wish to expand existing financial education efforts already in the community, and wish to encourage and amplify the sharing of best practices. And this goes back again to that point I made earlier. Librarians know their community. They know the people. They know what they need. And they come up with really great innovative ways on limited budgets to reach them. So we'd love to have this become a dialogue where librarians start to share. You know, I'm out in Billings, Montana, and I've got a lot of rural ranchers that have to come a long distance. How do you entice them to come in? And so they can share those ideas. So you never know what could be a nugget of information that could be sitting out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, but could really be applying into the neighborhoods of Atlanta. So we started by listening. Yes, we at the CFPB do listen on occasion, despite the immediate moment. We've partnered with 9 libraries, and my little notes have that, but they're not coming up here. So I don't have my list of the libraries. None of them were down here in Georgia. 2 were in South Carolina. One was in Florence, one was in Georgetown. And we also, these are library systems, not just branches. So another one that we worked with was Brooklyn, New York, the whole library system in Brooklyn. We worked with a tribe in Wisconsin, Menominee, I think they were called. And then we also worked in Fresno, California. And as we've expanded, we now have LA and San Francisco, some really great immigrant communities there. We talked to all the staff at these 9 libraries, and we also surveyed more than 700 of their patrons. And what did we learn? Clear financial information and resources are needed. I want something that is relatable to the people that they serve in their communities. They wanted marketing materials. They wanted community partnership resources. It's like, how do I partner with AARP? How do I get to know that they're there and they're available? They want to ensure engaging program ideas. Another thing, get this very big collaborative effort going. Wanted to have training provided for them. And they also wanted flexible and customized. Again, you've got every single community in the country has a library. It's got to be localized. It's got to answer to those people. So we provide you with these resources. We do webinars and in-person trainings on financial topics for staff. These webinars we're doing in conjunction with the ALA, and we're doing them once a month. We provide job aids, an inventory of resources, resources for reference use and program development. We also provide program ideas, marketing materials, and we have a community partnership guide. So at consumerfinance.gov/library-resources, we've got marketing materials on there. We've got some really stuff to use electronically, web banners. They can go across or down the side, depending on how you want to do it. And since they're web banners, you can customize, you want to put your logo on it. We also have PDFs and Word documents that you can do. We've created documents you can do with trifold to make a trifold stand that will go on a table. And those can be customized. So if you've got the library logo, pop it on there. Financial Planning Association, you're doing something in a library, you want to have your logo on with the libraries, pop, pop, on it goes. So you can do your program. ARP, the same thing. Do ARP Georgia, put your logo on there so they know about this, and you can even sit in the table, and that these are marketing materials to let the folks know these are here. You can put it by a workstation at this table, and there you go. We also have like a lot of other things that you can send out as flyers, mailers, and those kind of things.
What's that web address again?
consumerfinance.gov/library-resources, as a plural.
All right, now this out.
So we participated in a lot of working groups through the Library Association. By the way, there's a lot of library associations. There's ALA, there's a separate one for the public libraries, there's another one for museums, and there's another one for academic libraries, and another one for special libraries, and shocker of all shockers, they don't talk to each other. So, yeah. Well, they know about each other, but my network is over here and their network is over here, but they don't really talk to each other too well. So yeah, we got to do a lot of cross-pollination here. So So we developed a series of financial education guidelines and best practices for the libraries using a lot of these library organizations. And we're also doing as much as we can enough sharing and coordinating of these efforts. So librarians can talk to other librarians. This is what I've had. This is what worked for me. Maybe this will work for you. And looking at your project, oh, that looked really great, but if you tried X, Y, and Z and tweaking it a bit to reach a certain population. And we want to start a national conversation that will share these resources. So national partners that we have worked with in this. The Institute of Museum and Library Services. Oh, please wait. The American Library Association, Public Library Association. There's Reference and User Services Association. The FINRA Investor Education Foundation. And by the way, if you're looking for funding, talk to FINRA. They're a really good group of people to work with, and they're really big on trying to get financial education out into communities. Great organization. Whom? FINRA? FINRA. It's an acronym. FINRA is the self-regulatory body of the financial services industry. And they have an education foundation that's headed up by Jerry Walsh. USDA Cooperative Extension. I'm sure many of you folks have worked with the cooperative extensions here. They're amazing. And like the libraries, they're everywhere. And this is just like a group of people that is hungry to help out in their communities. And their charter, their name is the Cooperative Extension. And when they were created by President Lincoln, they were told, go out into the community where you're at and find out what their needs are and see what you can do to help them. Great partner to have. Have you heard of this? Money Smart Week? FDIC, we heard a lot about you today. And the Federal Trade Commission, another great group organization to work with. So we don't expect librarians to be financial experts at all. But we are here to help. We're here to connect you with partners. There's partners here in the room. And we have at that website, again, we do these monthly webinars and then we archive the webinars. And the webinars are a great resource sharing, hear from librarians about what they're doing out in the field. We start a conversation to learn more about your patrons' needs so you can guide them to effective resources. Definitely talk to those folks. Establish referral partners who are objective and can help patrons. Key thing, we know that financial services, everyone's got to deal with them. But if you have Wells Fargo come in and do something, people are like, you're just going to be marketing me products. So you definitely want to avoid something like that. And if you're looking for partners in your area, give me a call and we'll see what we can help you out with. And we would love to hear feedback. The best way we can improve ourselves is through this feedback. So there's the website. And you see there's program ideas, online resources, free materials, marketing stuff. The partnership guidebook is really good. And in the partnership guidebook, it lists out a series of national partners to work with. Guess who's there? So definitely check that out. So we have, if you go to promotions.usa.gov, this is the GPO bookstore. And you can order for free any of our items on there. And we highly encourage you to use them. And I believe the shipping is free too, but I'm not sure about that. But you can order them. Yes, groovy. Here is a list of financial topics that could be ideas. A big one is spending, managing that, controlling that. Income and benefits, again, what are we in right now? Open enrollment season. This is a perfect teachable moment. Highly stressed to try and reach out to folks at this point in time. The other time is this is the end of the year, so people are going to be looking towards the upcoming year. Big time to be putting your money in your 401k. Another thing, flexible spending accounts. This is a big planning time of the year. So this is a great teachable moment. Financial institution products, avoiding frauds, scams, and knowing your rights. Lots of great topics in here. All of these things you will find resources on that web page that we had. Again, we got our marketing materials. To general market materials that will guide patrons to the library as a resource for financial literacy materials. So you can put posters up in the library, you could put them up in community centers, you can put them up at post offices, plaster them on sides of walls and stuff. The guidebook, another great resource, provides an overview of the CFPB, helps libraries build and strengthen community partnerships, gives you great ideas and tips for how to go about doing that, lists potential national, state, and local partners. Just about every state has a consumer protection agency, and their task is like ours, here to help the consumers in that state. Highly encourage you to reach out to them. Also includes staff resources here within the Bureau and in other agencies. So we'd love to have your feedback. This is another email address, financialeducation@cfpb.gov. This goes into my email address as well as several others in the Office of Financial Education. So we do have this generic one, or you can send directly to me. Totally groovy with it. So here's the website again, consumerfinance.gov/library-resources. We encourage you to join our LinkedIn group, and you can always reach us, either me directly or through Financial Education. And I believe this is the questions. So anything else? Oh, yes.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Hollandwright. I'm with Fifth Third Bank and Community Reinvestment. And we came because we definitely are looking forward to partnering during Money Smart Week. We have several financial empowerment initiatives, including our e-bus, which we've spoken with Phoenix about. We just want to make sure that there's some conversation around the challenge of banks to offer services in low and moderate income communities and to promote banking, healthy banking habits for underbanked and unbanked individuals without being boisterous about promoting products, but providing resources to make sure that everyone's able to access services, and at the same time to provide financial empowerment. Sometimes that comes in the form of proprietary curriculum that's branded with the bank, and sometimes that comes in non-branded material. So it's great to hear about what you're offering. So I want to say thank you, and we appreciate that. But to also encourage the participants today to think about ways that you can partner with financial empowerment, financial education and financial institutions to provide your financial empowerment to your low and moderate income populations without it coming across as just selling services. And then finally, I wanted to also mention that if you're not comfortable with a bank providing financial education directly, that there are also investment dollars available through the Community Reinvestment Act to invest in organizations that are providing financial education. So there are lots of creative ways, innovative ways that we can partner to deliver services to individuals, because we definitely don't want to be perceived as sort of taking over and just selling products. We want to be perceived as that bank that provides access and sound financial education.
Does your bank have an education foundation?
We don't have an education foundation. We have a couple of different grant opportunities, but in the Georgia market and throughout our footprint, we have a financial empowerment mobile, which is the e-bus. And some other banks provide similar services where we come out and provide access to free credit reports, free credit scores, and our job seekers toolkit. So I'm not trying to promote Fifth Third Bank. Other banks are providing this. I'm part of a financial capability network that United Way hosts here in Atlanta with other financial institutions. But we're desperately looking for ways to reach out to community groups like the Black Clergy with Wells Fargo or SunTrust, different financial education initiatives to promote financial education through technology. So to make sure that you tap into what the financial institutions are offering in your area.
Yeah, very good points. And then, sorry if I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable in my presentation. Okay, I always worry about that. I do get a little carried away, but there are a lot of great financial institutions out there.
And with the work the foundation does, we always have this discussion because, At some point, when you educate the consumer's going to need tools and products. But we always say you have to back up and say, these are the questions to ask. This is how you find what you want to ask of a banking product. This is what you want to ask when you're seeking insurance. It's like educating the consumer on how to ask the right questions so they can go out and assess what product. But that's how we handle it with all the pro bono work with the foundation. But because people do need product and tools, but you just don't want to be saying pigeonholing them into yours.
Yeah, just want to make a comment. My name is Eric Jackson. I'm called the Business Development Manager with Guarantee Bank Best Bank, representing our community reinvestment partner, Nina Johnson, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So just at a very unique meeting with the Georgia Consortium, specific to technology. When you talk about technology, I'm a big proponent that bottom-up education we have to teach through the technology, because young people have more knowledge of technology even than a lot of the teachers that are teaching it, which is one of the reasons we have an educational gap in our society. So I like the idea of partnering in the libraries as well, but also even in our school systems of being able to use more of the technology. With this particular Georgia Consortium, they talked about the Money Smart application, which is a game. And as we know, kids love games, but we can do things to educate from a fun perspective versus all the rigorousness. I think when you do things in a fun manner, which is what this application helps you do, you earn points and things of that nature. It was a very outstanding presentation, partnered with the United Way. So things that we can do in that regard, I think is the way we can go from a technology perspective. Anything that Best Bank Guarantee Bank can do to help support that through the VITA or through other educational resources, we're happy to do that. So it's a pleasure to meet all of you. Look forward to partnering with you in the future.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Yes?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for segueing into the app that was designed by SunTrust in partnership with United Way. I guess one of my questions was, what and where is the CFPB on creating an app, or will vetting apps that are in the marketplace and posting them as a resource anywhere on your website? And secondly, financial coaching. I've heard about the financial education there, but are there tools for financial coaches so that they can also access CFPB's website as they coach families after they've had financial education?
All of our resources, anybody has access to them. They're free out in the public domain. It's interesting you mentioned financial coaching. We are currently working on a project on financial coaching. Yeah. Through our Office of Financial Empowerment and Office of Service Member Affairs. One of the service member affairs is going to be targeted, obviously, to the service members, and the financial empowerment is going out to disadvantaged communities. We're currently developing that program. We're test piloting it, and we have not officially released it yet, but we do have a dedicated funding stream for that project now. So that is coming up. Any other questions? Apps. We don't review apps, so we're not going to be in the business of that. Are we in the process of creating apps for our online resources? I know the geeks in our TNI would love to do that, but I don't know if we have developed anything like that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that we wouldn't be looking into. One thing to keep in mind with us, we're only 3 years old. Yeah, and yeah, the regulatory side was the one that got top priority. But that is a good point to consider, and we will be looking into that, because some of these things, like the paying for college tool, is something that would lend itself beautifully to that. We are in the process of coming out with interactive similar to the paying for college tool for mortgages. And so that would be something you might want to consider on down the road. That will probably be towards the end of 2015 when that comes out. We do also, on our website at consumerfinance.gov/mortgage, we do have a series of resources for those who are homeowners and those who are looking to buy a home. Yes, sir?
I have a question. Was the CFPB, did it come out of the Consumer Protection Agency?
No, we came out of the Dodd-Frank.
Okay.
We were created in the Dodd-Frank law. This is the brainchild of Elizabeth Warren. And what she saw was that there was no federal regulatory entity for consumer products. You had the FDIC and the Fed and OCC that regulate banks and financial institutions as businesses. But then when you get down into the consumer products, that wasn't part of the regulatory purview. And then there was bits and pieces of it scattered throughout the federal government. So the CFPB was created as the one agency for this. And then there was other holes in the system, like mortgages. A lot of that was put at the state and local level. Well, we saw what could happen in something, that kind of a situation. So that's where we came out of. And so we were, Elizabeth's the one who created it. From what I understand, they were in the basement of the Treasury initially, and used to have staff meetings outside of an elevator in the hallway. And there were only about 10, 15 of them at the time, and it has grown tremendously. And we first opened our doors in July 2011. And Director Cordray wasn't confirmed until July 2013. But he was confirmed for 5 years, and then we got an election coming in, so God knows what will happen. Yeah, it's always fun. Yes?
Just wanted to make a comment. I'm Connie Jackson, for those that may not know me. That is actually my real name.
You're in the right field.
I'm with United Way of Greater Atlanta. Being with United Way, I always think that everybody knows who we are and what we do. But I know our name has come up a couple of times in the meeting today, but just kind of wanted to share. Our goal for United Way is for families to be financially stable, and we do that through a number of different ways. So you may hear the Community Financial Capability Network, which is kind of the overarching name that we use around some of the work that we do. And we are, as mentioned, working with some of the banks so that we can work together and to be able to make sure that there's resources that are going out. And it rolls up into the numbers that we're trying to achieve for the community. United Way has 13 counties that we work with, so it's not just the work that we do, but it's also the work that's done by our partners throughout the community so that we can reduce that number. On the level kind of that does the work with the Financial Stability Partnership, and so that's where we work with organizations that there's so many different meetings. We're not trying to create more, but that particular group meets every third once a quarter. We just had our first meeting, as we mentioned last week, in conjunction with the Georgia Consortium. But so we do a lot of coaching in some of the work we do. So we have a grant from Points of Light from FINRA. We're working with CFPB. We're working with Wells Fargo. We're working with Bank of America. We're working with SunTrust. But we're not. It's along with we were one of the pilots for one of your goals, and we're also doing some more work with CFPB. But so what we're also trying to do is be able to just the same, similar, be able to share resources and to make sure that we're all working towards the same goals as far as helping families within the metropolitan Atlanta area to achieve financial stability. And so through our programs such as VITA, through our app that we're doing, and then a lot of the work we do along with that is through workforce development as well as affordable home ownership. So I'll be here afterwards. Like I said, I know I've kind of heard our names come up in several different areas, and we try to get the information out as much as possible. Like I said, so we work with a lot of different people here, but like I said, our goal is to be able to help families in the region to become financially stable. And then we also do some work statewide as well, but just trying to make sure we're getting that information out.
Anyone else? Yes?
We work with a lot of people here probably know the job, people that we get calls all day long, 200, 300 calls for problems. We send a lot of in the Financial Protection Bureau. Is there a way that we can get feedback off of the website, or we get calls back and they didn't respond? My thought is they're going through the process and haven't got back to them.
For us to tell you about that, no. That's PII, and when they come in to submit a complaint to us, that's personal If they want to tell you about that, that's fine, but I can't report anything, feedback back to you on
The
that.
feedback we get is they're not getting an response. I hear this quite frequently, that some of the Financial Protection Bureau hasn't responded to them. Now, my thought is, and this is what I tell them, give them time, maybe they're reviewing this.
Mm-hmm.
And they will probably get back to you. Call us back in about 3 weeks if you haven't heard anything.
At that point, you can send me a notice and I can go see what I can do about that.
I do also want to just share, a lot of you are with nonprofits. You mentioned FINRA as a funding source. The Foundation for Financial Planning is a grant-making organization. I'll give you my card and you can hit our website. The application is not going to be open until January. So it's due April 30th, so you have plenty of time in 2015 to apply for a grant. But it's really connecting the pro bono financial planning professionals with the underserved through a nonprofit constituency. So you can talk to me later if you have questions, but we grant nationally, but a lot of local people do not even know about the foundation. So we're here in Tucker, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Anyone else? Well, thank you all for your time. It is.
Great. Well, hopefully, was this information valuable? Yeah. Absolutely, and I think so. And so that's why I'm so excited about Money Smart Week, because it offers the platform for everyone to come together. We want to use that platform to leverage those partnerships, you know what I mean? Because everyone has something to bring to the table in all areas. So, as long as we have this, how you say, as we're raising awareness, we're also raising awareness for the partners and what they have to share. So, the plan for that, I want to address Noreen's question about the libraries not knowing, because I found the same thing. When I called the libraries, a lot of them didn't know about the information. And so CFPB is coming back at the end of January to do a group training for librarians. So, and then after that, there's going to be a statewide webinar training for librarians. So that's the plan behind that. And what we want to do is we are planning for a press conference for Money Smart Week in April. And we want to be able to make this announcement during that press conference, but we want the libraries to be prepared instead of people running there and they don't know what they're talking about. So at the very least, as Ken said, the resources are free. You can order them, and I think you can also download too. Mm-hmm. And then, to have those resources in the libraries, but we want to make sure that we planned it out. The libraries are ready when the people come in. So we will let you know of the date of the group training. It's going to be, I think we're planning for the last week of January. Trying to find a room. Yeah. for the librarian training, and then there will be a statewide webinar provided by CFPB after that. And so, like I said, the rollout is planned for Money Smart Week, during a press conference. Tiffany, you mentioned about being able to utilize, the resources that you all have, your educational resources. That, again, I have to bring up Money Smart Week again, because everyone can come to the table. We're just under the strict guidelines that there's no selling and no marketing, but the platform does allow for financial institutions, nonprofits, financial educators to come and work, and offer their workshops. So don't think you're counted out because you're not. So let's see. Again, we just want to leverage the partnerships and the awareness for Money Smart Week that we have to be able to get this information out, and it is a collaborative. So everyone has something to bring to the table. We have strong partnerships. Let's just blow this thing out. You know what I mean? We're all in it for the greater good anyway, so let's just, collaborate and get it done. We don't want to duplicate efforts. We just want to power up the efforts that are out there in whatever ways we can. So as we build for Money Smart Week, we have already started a database of financial education providers. So I see the need for it because I've had libraries. I got a little stack of library requests to help with programming, and that just confirms that we have a need. So we're building our database of financial education providers. And what I'd like to do as well is, become one of the sources that the libraries can come to for trusted providers under that model of we cannot sell and we cannot market. And, we'll use Money Smart Week to do that. One of the concerns I had when I initiated this campaign, we got this great week, financial education. How do we keep it going year round? I think this is the way, the foundation of it, because the second part of it is for the libraries to reach out to the community, the partnerships in the community, to help them with their programming, and, how may we be of service? So having said that, we hope that you all will register to become Money Smart Week partners. Our first committee meeting is next Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Smyrna Library from 9 to 12. That's the first one, but we're finalizing the committees. And to those committees, we're adding a senior subcommittee, veterans, Hispanic, and youth, because we want a greater outreach in those areas. The video, you all know this is being recorded, so I'll let you know when that's available. I'll send out links to the information that Ken shared to the video. And does anybody have a problem with us sharing the emails from everyone who attended today? Okay, I'll send that out. And just wanted to say, for the librarians, how many we got in the room from the libraries? Yay. Love y'all. Thank you. And so the American Library Association, I think I heard a few of you say that you've seen the webinars and you've seen they got a wealth of information on there for you guys for not just this effort, but Money Smart Week and other things, program ideas. So please take advantage of that. I will, I think I sent the link in the library edition of the email. And then the last thing is the Money Museum. After we're done, if you guys want to stay a little bit, and find out about the museum, you're welcome to do that. Ms. Hennessy will help you. Okay, next up is Ms. Amy Hennessy. She's going to share resources of the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. For those of you who don't know, Amy Hennessy is the Director of Economic Education at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. You already went through that?
That's good.
You don't want me to tell you? Okay, awesome. Okay.
So I'm excited to share with you some of our resources, and I'd just like to begin by saying, if you open your folder, the white folder that you have on the table, Sherilyn, in a program that she's done, has created this handout, and it has QR codes for a number of our resources. So if you do have a QR reader on a mobile device, you can use that to pull up the resource. There is absolutely an abundance, as we all know, of resources available from, as we know, very many providers. And these are just a few additional ones that we'd like you to consider as you're doing programs. While we develop resources, predominantly lessons and activities for use by educators in the classroom, these resources and activities, lessons, are absolutely perfect for use in various different programs you may want to run through your libraries. And a number of them could be a standalone, one-time program, an hour-long program with an activity that you run. Others could be a series where you start with one lesson, and over the course of weeks, participants come back and they get additional content through the additional key concepts that you're going to cover. So you could do a lesson a week, in essence, or an activity a week. So start here. I'd like to pull up for you on the website the easiest way for you to access all of our resources, and that's through our system website, which is www.federalreserveeducation.org. And I'm going to take you there just to show you that you can search here by topic, you can search by grade level, you can search by type of resource. And so this is our aggregator for the entire system. So all the 12 Federal Reserve banks are creating lessons, applications, online courses, various activities, publications, PDFs, videos, flashcards, various different types of interactive and multimedia resources that you could utilize. So this, to me, would be if you remember anything and have any big takeaway from my presentation, is just remember federalreserveeducation.org, because you can start there. You can search if you want to do a program in a library for adults, you can find material here. If you want to run a program for the K through 5 crowd or for the K through 2 crowd, you can find material there. I'd start there. I'm going to show you, for those of you, how many of you librarians do programs for young students? A lot of in this area. Okay, so the Kansas City Fed, and again, you could find what I'm going to show you by searching on federalreserveeducation.org, but I just wanted to show you the Kansas City Fed has a series of financial fables for young learners. And there's Percy Peacock and the credit crisis. And when you go here, what I like about this is if you have students working on a computer with these various fables, they've got a read to me option, or they can read themselves. They also, each one has many, many activities, and notice here, not only do they have the activities for the students, they have family activities, so there's extension activities that you can use as you go through this with the students or with your young learners. So I strongly encourage you to check out the financial fables from the Kansas City Fed. Another go-to for the young crowd is through the St. Louis Fed. They have created a vast series of lessons. The rationale is taking pieces of children's literature and infusing and embedding key financial literacy and actually economic concepts through the piece of children's literature. And all of these lessons have interactive components to them, various different hands-on role play or simulation, some kind of hands-on activity that help the student to understand whether it's decision making and savings versus spending, whether it's budgeting, etc. So when you go to the St. Louis Fed site, you can find all of these lessons, and you see here, while the St. Louis Fed does not provide the book for you, all of these lessons are there, and it has step-by-step lesson procedures, so you can adapt as you see fit. Many of them have corresponding, for those of you who are in a library where you may have an interactive whiteboard, they have an interactive whiteboard component that supports the activity. Again, the easiest place to access this, to do a search for all of this, is go to federalreserveeducation.org and search by grade level, and then you're going to get this list, or by personal, by the topic, personal finance. While we are the only two here serving all of Georgia, there's a specialist in all of our branches. We are absolutely dedicated to helping train teachers, but we do these programs, and if any of you would like to come to our professional development workshops when we're doing financial literacy or even economic concepts, we would love for you to register. You can go to frbatlanta.org, our website, and find under our education pages our list of workshops and programs. We would love to have you. We'd also, I know we're going to host here the training that CFPB will do for the library program, but we would be happy if there's a group of you, a large enough group of you who would like to come, and while that will be the CFPB day, we would be happy to do a training on select resources that we have and provide. So we would actually walk you through. We'd do the lessons with you and provide insights into what seems to work best and so forth. You had a question? So our website is, it's on there, well, it's under QR code, but it's FRB, so www.frbatlanta.org, which is Federal Reserve Bank Atlanta.org. And under our education pages, you can find under professional development the links. But I will say, the other key way that we can support all of you is by providing the publications that we have that are disposable workbooks and materials. We are happy to, if you want to place an order for something, we'll ship out as many as you need, hundreds, if you're going to do a program for hundreds of kids. So Sherilyn's going to hold up some of these. The two she's holding up right now, this is an example of where I think of the piggy bank primer as something that you could do, multiple programs over the course of a couple weeks, like if you're going to do a summer program, because it's a story told in chapters. There are lessons, so the green booklet is a teacher's guide, and then the blue booklet. Now this is the old version. They actually have just come out with the new, and we've got it on order, and it's coming from the printer, so they've updated it. But that's a perfect example of it. It's the story of two children who have to set a savings goal and go through the process of how are they going to achieve their savings goal, and kind of the unexpected, unforeseen events that take them off their path towards achieving their savings goal. And it's, again, all the key concepts go by chapter, and there's a lot of interactivity, and the teacher's guide gives you the procedures as to how to do the various different components of the lesson. At the end, after I've shown you some of these, I'm going to show you that it has, for iPad only right now, an ebook. The Piggy Bank Primer is in an ebook, and I'll show you a little bit. It's very, very, very clever. The My Money is from the Richmond Fed. And this is a workbook, again, a disposable one. This is their latest version. It's all about money, getting students to understand how to make change and so forth, and all about, again, making decisions. And if you don't have money, and the little scenario is if you're going to try to fill your lunch tray and you want to put everything on your lunch tray, how do you acquire that? If you don't have money, you would have to barter, and so they go through various different activities. The My Money is geared for ages K through 2 crowd, but again, we can get you as many as you need. It doesn't have a separate teacher's guide. All the teacher's guide information is at the very back of the booklet. This that she's holding up now, The Great Minds Think, A Kid's Guide to Money, is another one. You've got that featured on the QR, on the handout I gave you. The Kid's Guide to Money is designed for middle grades. However, it is definitely perfect for upper elementary, especially those. It's going to depend on their reading level. This is available also in Spanish, and we could get you a complete set in English and a complete set in Spanish if you wanted to use that with students. We've got for high school age and actually young adults, the Building Wealth program, and I'm going to also show you that. This also has an application, a mobile app. The Building Wealth was developed by the Dallas Fed's Community and Economic Development Department for adult financial literacy. So that's where it started, and then ultimately their economic education group developed a whole series of lessons to support it, and now they have the mobile application. And the Building Wealth, as I'll show you, the nice feature of the Building Wealth app is the application is available on every device possible. So you can, even for BlackBerry. So you can download it for free for BlackBerry. Yeah. Wow. There aren't many that do that. And what I absolutely love about the Building Wealth app, and I'll show you when I connect to my iPad, is that it takes you all through what are the steps necessary to build your net worth. And it starts with just decision making and tracking your spending and building a budget, and it goes through saving, and it goes through credit, and it goes through investing, and ultimately insuring, because once you've built your net worth, you need to protect it. And so it has all of those components and told in chapters, and there's a video support, but the application has these tools that are amazing. So all sorts of credit card comparison tools where you can put in all your different credit cards and all the different rates of interest and what the balance on it, and it'll tell you what you're going to owe, how much you're ultimately going to pay for all of them in interest, etc. It's got a mortgage calculator. It's just got a lot of nice tools in the application that for those who use mobile devices and want to use some tools and want to be able to use tools when they're making some of these decisions, say they're doing shopping on an auto loan and so forth. It's readily accessible. The other thing that I'm going to show here from the Philadelphia Fed, there's a whole, so for you in libraries, these pamphlets, we can get you as many as you need to have available, to hand out or to make available to the general public on all about credit score, knowing your credit scores, establishing your credit, understanding your credit report, protecting yourself against identity theft, knowing about payment cards, all of these. And so if you were to be interested, the easiest way, you have my card in the folder, the easiest way to get access to these is to send me an email and say, I'd like 500 of these pamphlets. Because while you can find them on the federalreserveeducation.org, it's just, if you're going to order in bulk, it's better to contact me, and I'll make sure you get these shipped out to you. So anybody who's interested in using these, and this is all obviously for young adults and for the adult population to help them navigate that process. So I'm going to connect now. I'm going to disconnect from here.
Amy?
Yeah.
FederalReserveEducation.org, does that have all 12 branches of the Federal Reserve's, all of their programs?
Yeah, so we all load all of our stuff up, and yes.
So
yeah.
it's an easier way to.
It's the easiest. It's the absolutely easiest way to access all of our resources because it's an aggregator.
Right.
Yeah. So I just want to show you real quickly. Here's the Building Wealth app. I'll pull this up first. And you see here the chapters. So as I was saying, so again, here are all the different chapters, everything, and it goes through, and it's got a video. I'm not hooked to audio, so I'm not going to run one of the videos, but it's got an audio component, a video and audio as you go through all the different lessons. As I said, I just absolutely love these different tools. So you can see some of these different tools that you use, the different calculators. And then there's various different games, you know, again, to reinforce, especially if you're using this with a younger crowd, to reinforce the concepts that you've taught, that you've gone through. And then links to a whole host of other resources, links to many, many, many different providers and their resources. So I just encourage you to check out the Building Wealth app. And then I just love this piggy. I just cannot get over this ebook. It's just so cute. And it covers some really great stuff. So, okay, come on. Okay. Let's see. Is it going to switch the view? Hold on one sec. That'd be hard. Let's all turn our heads now.
It's good for yoga practice.
Yeah. Okay, come on. Hold on one sec. Well,
There it is.
yeah. I just can't figure. Let's see if we. There you go. All right. So hopefully it will read it. Yeah. It is really, really, truly great. So here are all of the chapters, and you see all sorts of different activities. I'm glad it's good for you because it's still vertical for me. But I just love sharing. I think I shared this when I shared this with the consortium this summer. Come on. So you got a word search. That's just one of the little activities. It's got a whole host of different activities, drop and drag activities, where they're making choices. If I spend on that, to teach them opportunity costs. If I spend on this, I'm not able to spend on that, and so forth. So I encourage you to check this out. It's the Piggy Bank Primer. And on the QR code, you can, if you read it, it'll take you directly to the iTunes store. And you can do a search in the iTunes store, and it comes up Again, this is a native app, so it's only available on iPad devices. It is not available on others, but hopefully soon to come it will be available on other devices. So I'm going to stop, just say one last time, we are so eager to support your efforts, and while we can't be everywhere at, in terms of doing programs every single day all throughout the state of Georgia, we would definitely like to help you in your efforts, and are here for that purpose. So I'm going to open it up to any questions you may have before I hand it off to my friend from the FDIC. Yes?
With Money Smart Week, I know that started out at Chicago Fed,
Yes.
but is everybody doing it, or all of the 12 banks, or how is that? Because people said, well, Denver, I was at a meeting, and they said, well, Denver, we're doing it, and so what's happening?
So honestly, the inside baseball, it depends on senior management as to which banks, sorry, my video guy, yeah, I forgot. It depends on which banks senior management are willing to get behind it, in essence. Again, you have limited resources, and our primary mission is to do programming for teachers. And so we just made the conscious decision to get on board and support the program here in Atlanta, as others have throughout the system.
But it is still
Yeah.
not national
Yeah,
necessarily.
I mean, we are, and I think that speaks to Ken's question. So all 12 banks are putting their stuff out there, because we've got 12 banks. We're all doing various different programs. We all have, our, in essence, kind of our unique spin on how we do our programs and how we do our outreach. So that's another example of that. Yeah.
One of the things you find with Money Smart, or the Money Smart Week,
Yeah.
is it's being used, it's put out there, anybody can use it.
Right.
It is national.
Yeah.
There are,
Yeah.
the Jumpstart, the Jumpstarts, all the state coalitions, they use their various Money Smart Weeks. And the Money Smart Week, although officially the Aleo did it, is in April. I know if it's in Houston, Texas, they did it in September.
Yep.
By the way, bad timing.
Yeah.
Don't do an event in Houston in September. Poor woman who did Money Smart in Houston, Hurricane Ike came in and literally blew the entire event away.
Wow.
Yeah, she does it in April. But you'll find in Washington State, I know the Jumpstart Washington is very active using the Money Smart Week. So it's an idea to promote, and I've seen it in Colorado, I've seen it over in New Hampshire as well. So it is national, and it can be used in different times of the year other than April.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be associated with a Fed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, even though Alejo got it started in Chicago. Do you have a question in the back? No? Anybody else have a question?
Oh.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I have a question about professional development.
Yes, ma'am.
Will that be scheduled?
Well, we have ongoing programs, so what we will be doing is developing our schedule for 2015. And while much of what we do is in the area of economics, we also do some financial literacy, and we will be doing, in conjunction with April, which is National Financial Literacy Month, and then the Money Smart, we will be doing some programs, certainly in April. I can't say right today definitively what dates, but Sherilyn and I will put together some in the area of financial literacy. January, February, March, sometime in that time frame. At least one. Yes? That app is, the Building Wealth app is available on Android, iOS, Android, and like I said, BlackBerry as well.
Through the St. Louis Fed, and we're partners with them in this endeavor. There's the Econ Lowdown, and there's an elementary school level course for on that site, and it is also very interactive in making choices, has the read aloud option as well as the child reading it, and that's accessible on any computer.
Yeah,
as well as
it's called,
tablets.
isn't it, decision making?
It's called Once Upon a Decision.
Yeah, Once Upon a Decision. And it's tied again to a piece of children's literature, story. Yeah. So, any other questions?
Wow, that was good, because some of that I didn't know that you all had, so that's great information. Okay, our last presenter is Ms. Elaine Hunter. She's Community Affairs Specialist in the Atlanta Regional Office of the FDIC, where she serves the state of Georgia. Her responsibilities primarily include developing and participating in programs regarding financial literacy, the Community Reinvestment Act, and small business development. She previously served as a commission compliance examiner with the FDIC in Raleigh, North Carolina, where she conducted bank examinations in the areas of lending and deposit regulations, fair lending, and the Community Reinvestment Act. Elaine has received her Certified Regulatory Compliance Manager designation from the Institute of Certified Bankers and has over 20 years' experience in the financial services industry, including employment as an attorney and regulatory compliance officer. She holds a law degree from St. Louis University School of Law and a BA in journalism from the University of South Carolina. Please welcome Ms. Elaine Hunter.
Thank you, Venus. And thank all of you for coming. I look forward to sharing with you more about our Money Smart program. But before I begin, I want to introduce two of my team members, Joy Ellington and Tori Grant. Okay. I want to also thank the CFPB for this program. I was really excited about the program when I heard about it, and I'm really thrilled to be able to help with it. And of course, I want to thank Venus. If any of you know Venus, she has a lot of enthusiasm about what she believes in, and I really appreciate her work in this area. And again, I'm honored to be a part of this program with her. And then as mentioned earlier, I do work with the Community Reinvestment Act, and we often, part of our responsibilities is having events where we try to bring banks and partners such as you together so that you can help the banks implement the CRA. And so next year I do plan on having several of those, and if you're interested in being invited to any of those programs, please do just give me your card if you see me, or just put it on the table, because we really do, as Tiffany mentioned, we want the banks and the partnerships in the communities to come together and implement the CRA. But for now, we'll talk about financial literacy. And just briefly, for those of you who may not know, the FDIC, we have 4 primary missions. One is that we insure your deposits. We haven't lost a penny, so your deposits are safe. We also act as bank examiners, or I guess supervision. We supervise the banks that are state member banks. And we also, unfortunately, when a bank is unable to continue operating, we do act as the resolution specialist there, in making sure that the bank is resolved. And then, of course, we have community affairs, which is what I'm a part of, and my team members and others. And again, as Venus mentioned, we focus on financial literacy, helping the banked and underbanked come into the banking system. We also work to help small businesses succeed, and we also work, again, on financial literacy. So those of you, there may be some of you who already use our Money Smart program, and I want to thank you if you do, and if you don't, I hope you'll give us a chance in using our products in whatever area that you work in. Money Smart, for those of you who don't know, it's the FDIC's financial education curriculum. It was developed, as you can see, in 2001. As you can see also, over 2.7 million people have been reached using our products. We have over 1,600 organizations that are members of our Money Smart Alliance. And then we first developed this curriculum for adults. Currently, we have Money Smart for everyone. We have Money Smart for adults, young adults, elementary school age students, young people, older Americans, and small businesses. And as Ken mentioned earlier, with regard to the young adults and the young people and elementary school students, we are currently revamping those to make them age appropriate. So currently, we do have what's existing now. I will say that with respect to the young people, we do have the pre-K through second grade out for a pre-pilot version. You can go to our Money Smart website, and you can actually print those out. And I'm really giggly goo about those, about that curriculum, and I've seen it. There's a caregiver's guide, a parent/caregiver's guide. There's a teacher guide. Then there's the student activities. And then, of course, there's the a regular teacher's guide. So it really is impressive, and I hope that you'll go to the website and look at our pre-K through second grade for young people, as well as all the other Money Smart products that we have. With regard to the Money Smart for adults, we have 11 modules. And these are the 11. For time's sake, I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are the types of things that we focus on that are in the modules. And as I mentioned earlier, each module has an instructor guide. So if you want to present Money Smart to a group, we have the PowerPoint slides available for you. They are there. Everything you need to do a Money Smart class is there. You have the PowerPoint slides. You have the guidance, written guidance from the FDIC, how you can instruct your class. And of course, you have the participant guides as well. So everything is there. Everything is free on the website. You can order it from the website, or you can download it, or you can order it in CD form. But in any event, these are the modules that you'll find with respect to the Money Smart for adults. And then with respect to our instructor-led curriculum, as you can see, we have it available in a number of languages. This does change, so it's possible that other languages will be added, but currently this is what we have, and there might be another one that's not on here, but again, we're constantly updating this. And then we also have versions for the visually impaired. Another curriculum that we have is the Money Smart for young adults. Currently, this is targeted for teenagers between the ages of 12 and 20, so that does include some college kids up to typically sophomore year. And again, it's aligned with all of the educational standards. Therefore, it can be used in the educational forum in schools, and it currently is. And in addition to it being downloadable, we also have it in instructor-led and computer-based, so that students can learn on their own or in a classroom setting. And again, all of our products are free. This is the curriculum we have. There are 8 modules for the Money Smart for young adults. Some of them are similar to the ones for regular adults. However, we have 8 here. And what's interesting about the young adults is that they use teenagers within the curriculum to help guide the teens throughout the different lessons. And then we also have it in a game format, which makes it a little interesting as well. And then, of course, we currently have the Money Smart for elementary kids. And again, that's for ages 5 through 8. And like all of the Money Smart, we have instructor guides and participant guides and coloring activities. And all of it's free, available for download. And that's the website where you can go to get all of our Money Smart products. And then again, these are the modules that we have for the Money Smart for elementary students. As you can see, it focuses on wants versus needs, spending plans, saving goals, saving tips, grow your money, race to the bank maze, and Money Smart posters. As I mentioned earlier, we're currently working on a new version, Money Smart for young people, and I mentioned earlier the pre-K through second grade, and again, it's a pre-pilot, but it's currently available for use. And those are the modules we have. And then coming hopefully in early 2015, we will have it for grades 3 all the way through 12. And as Ken mentioned earlier, we are doing this in conjunction with the CFPB, so we're excited about that partnership. We also have Money Smart for small businesses. I really love this Money Smart because I'm an advocate for small businesses, and I believe that this version of Money Smart is a very good start for those who are interested in starting their businesses or who are beginning in the beginning stages of their businesses. However, anybody can learn from it, but it's particularly good for those who are starting their business. We did do this in conjunction with the Small Business Administration, and again, it's just a beginning start, and it's instructor-led. However, anyone really, I've looked at it, anyone can actually understand it, but it is designed to be instructor-led by someone who is familiar, preferably with small businesses and their issues. And then we have Money Smart for Older Americans. Ken mentioned this earlier. It's a great partnership with the CFPB. You can actually download this for free on the CFPB's website. And again, it's designed to raise awareness among older adults and their caregivers on how to prevent identity theft and other elder abuse exploitations. This version of Money Smart, again, comes with PowerPoint slides, instructor guides, and participant guides. And again, this is the website where you can go to our website, but it will take you to the CFPB's website. And slide 14 just gives you just a snapshot of what the Money Smart for older adults is about. You can see the types of topics that are covered there. As you can see, common types of elder financial exploitation, identity theft, medical identity theft, planning for unexpected life events, how to be financially prepared for disasters, scams that target homeowners, and scams that target veterans. So it's very comprehensive, and I think that it's very helpful to older adults. Okay, and then I mentioned earlier the Money Smart for small businesses, and these are the modules. You can see that it covers record keeping, financial management, banking services, credit reporting, tax planning and reporting, and time management. It also includes, I'm on page 16, slide 16, insurance, selling a small business, and succession planning, types of organizations for small businesses, and the advantages and disadvantages and other impact on the finances of small businesses. With respect to Money Smart for small business instructors, again, I mentioned we do prefer that the instructors be someone who has experience and knowledgeable about small businesses. It's not necessarily required, but it's preferred. And then I also I'd like to mention that the FDIC does have what we call an alliance, and then those are organizations who present our Money Smart curriculum to their members and other organizations. To become an alliance member, you sign a partnership agreement with the FDIC, and they also have like meetings, quarterly meetings, where the alliance partners get together and discuss issues and successes that they have with the Money Smart program. And then this is a snapshot of our website. As you can see, at our website, we have all of the Money Smart products available. I want to mention that we also have the Train the Trainer program, which you can access from the website, that teaches those who want to present the Money Smart program to others how to do that. We also can have Train the Trainer sessions in person, so if you have a group of people who want to learn in person, we are available to do that. But we also have the training materials online, and as you can see, we have the computer-based instruction, and we also have it in the MP3 player format. And then we also have other resources listed. So everything you need to know about Money Smart is here, but if you ever have a question, we have on our FDIC website, Community Affairs, we have a list of all of the Community Affairs personnel in the various states and regions. And of course, you have my email address on the first page of this slide, of this PowerPoint, and you can always contact me if you have any questions. And then again, in summary, the commonality of all of our Money Smart products is that, again, you have instructor guides for modules and a general guide. You have participant guides. You have icons and prompts. We provide PowerPoint presentations right out the box. All you have to do is use them, or you can modify them in some way, but nonetheless, you can just use them straight from the straight out of the box as you speak. We have evaluations, surveys, and interactive scenarios. Money Smart is unique in that it's easy to teach, it's easy to learn, it's flexible, it's targeted to cash consumer, it has a universal appeal. There are no copyrights, so you can feel free to use our material at any time in any format. You can use it in multiple media versions. We have it again in multiple languages. It has the FDIC seal of approval, and again, it's all free. Free. Not many things are free today, but they're free. Okay, any questions?
I'm seeing the small business thing. Have you guys been working with the career and technical educators at the DOE and stuff? Because I can see how those teachers who are teaching these business ed classes would love this, because they teach entrepreneurship and developing a small business, and they have business plans. I think this would be perfect for.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that group, but are any of you guys? We have not.
Yeah, the career and tech ed teachers love something.
Oh, great.
They're actually looking. They ask us all the time, do you have, because we'll do workshops for them, banking, budgeting, and so forth. They say, do you have anything for a small business plan and everything? And no, we don't. So
Is that at the high school level?
at the high school
Career
level.
and tech ed.
The career and tech ed group. I just think they would eat it up.
Yeah, if you have a contact, I'll be happy to contact them. I mean, if you can give me a contact, if anybody has one, we'd love to tell them about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is a great program.
Yes.
So, thank you.
It's career and technical education. It's all there's 17 financial pathways in Georgia. One of them involves a business ed class.
No, that would be very good. I know that we have been in connection with them in regards to financial literacy, but not in regards to the entrepreneurship. So we'll take a look at that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. And again, I just want to mention, if you'd like to be invited to any of my CRA programs that we'll have next year, please do see me, give me a card so I can send you an invite. I'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. So we're at the end. Did anyone have any questions that you may have thought of before we leave? Okay, so hopefully, how many Money Smart Week partners are we going to have within the libraries? Thank you. We would love to have our libraries fully engaged. Let us know how we can be of service. As you see, there's a wealth of resources and partnerships in the room, and I will send out the email list along with the other resources. Just let us know how we can be of service. We're here to help. That's what it's all about. So just, let us know. And hopefully we will see a room full of librarians and related staff in the training, which will be CFPB, Atlanta Fed, FDIC. So we'll let you know of the date. For Money Smart Week, if you want to sign up, I have cards here for the site. And then I also have my cards here if you need, further information. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.